All right, guys, today's ride is going to be a little different than normal. Instead of talking about the bike itself, we're going to use the bike to get to a destination that I've been wanting to check out for some time now. It's actually a old Chinese digging site where I guess the Chinese people that were here in Folsom area looking for gold a long time ago dug some trenches. So these are called the Folsom trenches, and they're basically just these really deep and narrow trenches in the ground that they used to bring water from a lower site to where they were working. Instead of, you know, they didn't have pumps and whatnot and electricity back then, so they dug these trenches to get the water to be able to get to where they needed to mine. So pretty interesting. The site is kind of closed. They put a fence around it a few years ago, but there's an opening that everyone goes through to get to it. It is a little later in the day than I wanted to go. It's actually starting to get a little bit cold and the sun's going down, but it's going to be raining for the next couple days, and so I just wanted to get over there and take a look at this. When I was in the area in my car the other day, I went and kind of scouted it out. It looks really cool. It's very narrow, very deep, and there's a lot of bushes and overgrown stuff, and there's some homeless encampments that kind of live around that area. So not the best time of day to really be going and checking this stuff out, but like I said, you know, it's going to be quite wet and muddy and raining for the next few days, even through the rest of the week really. So I wanted to take this time now while I have it to go down there and take a look at it, so join me. If you haven't seen my recent video, I took my fenders off the front and rear. Now I have no vibrational noise on my bike. I'm really stoked about it. So take a look at that video if you haven't seen it. And also other videos. If you just got a 2024 Wired Freedom, I made a bunch of videos about how to set up your suspension, how to set your menu settings for all the different parameters. And one thing I wanted to give you guys right now as well, if you're riding out in the dark, like I'm going to be doing in a little bit, to turn on your headlights, you basically just hold the up button for about 2 to 3 seconds. That'll show your light symbol here, and it'll turn on your front and rear lights to the bike. So I'm going to leave those on for now for safety so that cars can see me a little bit easier. And I'm going to go ahead and turn up the speed here so we can get down there as quick as possible before it gets dark. So a beautiful sunset coming in. Go ahead and go on this trail, this little path. Might as well. That rear shock is feeling great. Like I said, I might add a little bit of air to that. In the previous video I was mentioning, I'm still getting a little more use of the shock than I would be comfortable with, so that when I go over really big drops, I don't completely bottom out the rear fork or the rear shock. But it's been great so far. Feels great. No issues with it. And leave a comment below. Let me know if you own a 2024 Wired Freedom, and if so, have you taken it to any cool places so far, and what's your favorite places to ride? You know, what city or state do you live in? Do you live in the US? I'm always interested to hear that from people. It's kind of a cool thing to share and makes us feel like somewhat of a community, e-bike community, I guess. So we're coming up to the Folsom Lake Dam here. We'll be passing shortly. Like I said, we're just going to stay on Folsom Boulevard the whole way, all the way down. Temperature shows at about 53 degrees. We got 125 degrees on the motor temperature sensor. Somebody mentioned in the comments that the maximum for this motor and the wiring and the covering, the varnish on the wires and whatnot, can handle up to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which I was kind of surprised by, but it makes sense because I've seen it get up to 220, even up to 240 occasionally. So still seems like there's some blue sky there on the temperature. I'll be interested to see what that goes up to in the summertime, and if there's ever any issues with overheating. I don't imagine there being a problem unless you go in something like, I don't know, sand or something like that. I can't imagine there'd be much of an issue. So I put about 44.7, almost 45 miles on this bike. I plan to do a review after maybe, I don't know, 100 miles or so. Kind of give you guys my opinion on everything and how it's holding up. So far, so good. Haven't had too many issues. I did make a video about the 3 things that were bothering me about the bike, mostly just minor things. And I've already addressed two of them, which was the fenders making noise, the fender in the rear making noise, and the front fender making the front light move around. So I removed the fenders, problem solved. I'm gonna leave the rear rack for now. It doesn't bother me quite as much, doesn't make any noise. I won't really be using it, but you know, it does have the light mounted to it. And then the front chain ring, occasionally I do have that chain come off of the front chain ring, but it's really not that big of a deal. It just takes a second to fix. You basically, I used to use my finger, but somebody mentioned using a leaf, and then I thought, you know, if you can find a stick somewhere, a pretty good sized stick, say the size of your finger, so you put it on the bottom of the chain and you make the chain, you turn the crank backwards and you make the chain go up and around back onto the chain ring. That way you don't have to worry about going forward and the tire having to spin or lifting the rear tire up to do it or any of that. Just do it backwards. So you go from the bottom of the chain, the bottom part of the chain, and then you push it up and around, and that will get it back on track. All right, so we are fighting daylight here. I sure hope we make it in time. We only have about another 10 minutes of riding to go at most, but it is 4:47, so sunset's at about 5:15. So it's going to be dark in the trenches, but like I said, I'll try to do my best to light that up with the lights that I brought with me. House, Folsom's Veteran Hall. A bunch of history here in Folsom. It's where they found gold originally, and where all the 49ers came. They went up into Oregon and the Oregon Trail, and they came into Northern California in 1849. So on the right here, you'll see a bunch of tailings. This is all from gold mining a long time ago. When they dredged and they were looking for gold, they used sluice boxes and water and all that to find gold. You can see some of the rocks people have balanced on top here, but these are all tailings from dredges that came through here and mined for gold, you know, 100 years ago. You got some of the old trains over here as well. Pretty cool history. All right, so we're almost there. We only have about another, I'd say, a mile or so to go. Check out that sunset, guys. Beautiful. All right, so the trenches are over where all those trees are right there. That's where we're headed. So what I'm gonna do is lock my bike up somewhere here. Trusty old bike. I think I'm gonna lock it to this fence right here. Shouldn't take me too long to do this, but it is getting dark, so I gotta be quick. Okay guys, I got the new battery installed, but I think I'm just gonna stick with my chest mount to be able to show you guys kind of everything and have my hand. And hopefully there's no poison oak or anything like that around here. It is wet still from the recent rains. I'm hoping I don't have any issues with that. But here is the beginning of the trench. It goes around in multiple directions, but if you guys can kind of see that there, I know it might not show on camera very well, but this is about a, geez, I'd say 20-foot drop down to the bottom there. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that with the lighting. I think when I get down there, it'll adjust a little better, but you can kind of see here, it's a really beautiful area, but very narrow trenches that they use to get water down to basically this spot here, I think is the end of the trench. So you can kind of see the walls there, but we're gonna be going and exploring kind of all this right now. I'm gonna enter in this way and try and go down. It's really narrow. I hope I don't get too muddy or, you know, too messed up, but you know, I have my backpack and everything on and my lights and whatnot. So hopefully I'll be able to do this without slipping too much. Oh shit, it is slippery. You know what, let's start going this way first, just to see what's back here. This is so cool, guys. Look at that. So look at this tree branch. There's like ferns, and it's very wet, as you can tell. This tree here. Super cool. See all the different layers of rocks and whatnot. Really? I'd say this is maybe like 2 feet with the bushes, but it's probably 3 feet wide or so. Let's kind of explore down this way a little bit. I don't really see much. It looks like it kind of goes back up here. But look at the layers of sediment. I hope you guys can see that. Look how cool the moss and everything is growing there. Really cool. I'd really like to take my camera off so I can show you guys different things that I see, because I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but check that out. It's just really beautiful. And then again, you have all the different layers of rock and dirt and sediment. But you know, a long time ago, I guess about 150, geez, almost 100, and you know, 1850s, probably 130 years ago, right? I mean, no, 180 years ago. That's incredible to think. Is that right? 1850, 1950 is 100, 2050 would be 200 years. So yeah, 180 years ago, this stuff was dug so that people could mine for gold. Isn't that amazing? It was that big of a deal, you know, 180 years ago, 1850 or so, people were looking for gold, and there's even things like mushrooms and whatnot down here. But it's incredible that people would spend this much time and effort to just find gold, you know. That was all there was back then, I guess. So I'm going to be really careful. This is incredibly slippery. I probably should have a stick or something to kind of help me with this. I hope I can get back out. Going down might be slippery, but coming back might be even worse. I got this light in my hand. It's not ideal, but I might need it here shortly. Oh, look at this, guys. Check out all the moss and the stones. And I mean, this is only a couple feet, very slippery, only a couple feet wide at best. And as you can see, there's trash and different things from, look at that. So cool. All right. Whoa. So this is where the deepest part of this trench is, but as you can see, I mean, imagine the work, you know, mostly I'm sure by hand, to get all of this dirt removed into these trenches. And they did them narrow because obviously it'd be more work to, you know, make a wider trench than to make a narrower trench, and they were only trying to get the water. So super cool. Definitely slippery. I'm gonna have to grab some rocks here to get out. So I'm just kind of using the rocks on the side as kind of assistance, and different roots and whatnot to help me get out. It's recently rained a lot here, so it's very slippery. Wow. So it just kind of goes up and down, these trenches. I'm gonna kind of try to keep track of the different ways out. This looks like it might be a relatively easy way out. Look at this right here. Money. Checkbook. No. Bible. Okay, interesting. All right, so this might be a way out if I have to climb out quickly. I do have this light with me, just in case. So this is the split that a lot of people talk about. I've seen in TikTok and different videos where I believe this might be graffiti over here. You can see how cold it's getting. But I'm pretty sure there was some Chinese writings on the wall here. It's part of the history. I'm not sure if this is too, or if it's graffiti, but check that out up there. Branch going across, just this really narrow column. Really interesting. Oh man, syringe, a lighter, not ideal. I don't know if anybody's gonna be down here. I hope not. So another little narrow passageway. Hope you guys can see that. And then another one this way that just kind of goes down and then back up. I mean, this can't be more than a couple feet, 2 feet across. Incredible. You basically have kind of sand and rock, granite probably, and different types of stone. It sounds really weird in here because it's such a narrow place for the noise to kind of echo. So unfortunately you can see the cans and trash and whatnot. It's unfortunate, but I'm sure this is a really cool area for people to come do whatever they do. So this is one of the other ways out right here. Wow, look at that tree with the roots just growing out into space because there's no longer any tree there or any dirt. Looks like more writing. I'm pretty sure this is spray paint here, but I don't think it would last long enough with erosion. Look how cool though, the ferns growing out of the dirt like that. Pretty cool. Wow. I mean, this is definitely, I'd say, as cool as I was expecting it to be. So if you live in the Folsom area and you want to check this out, it's right off the 50 freeway and Folsom Boulevard, right on the corner there. There's a theater, and it's right behind the theater parking lot. There's also a few different hotels in the area as well. I'm glad I brought this light. It's not so dark that I wouldn't be able to see, but if I didn't have it, I don't think the details would be coming out very clear for you guys. So here's without the light. Here's with the light, kind of just gives you a better view. So we're only maybe, I don't know, 10 feet, 8 feet on this side below, not sea level, but ground level. So we are down maybe about 10 feet right here, and then it looks like it splits again into some different areas. So what's interesting about it is that it goes up and down. And I think they did that probably for water flow to kind of trap it, and then they would release it and block water as they would need to build it up or whatever they would do. Definitely some signs of people living out here. Another exit. So this kind of just keeps going. I'm just going to go a little further until my batteries die, basically. Check out this moss and these ferns. It's really cool, guys. I like doing stuff like this. Another exit out. So they had a bunch of kind of, I'm sure they're access points. I'm going to step over this. It's probably soaked. Access points to be able to get in and out. You know, when they would flood different sections, I'm sure they would use these to kind of exit and to get back in, depending on where the water is flowing, because it kind of just goes up and down like hills. Man, these ferns are growing like crazy. Check it. Wow. Okay, so this is getting a little narrow. This tree is just growing its roots all up in this. I don't know how much further I want to go through this area. And I guess we could just keep going. Let me go around this real quick here. But like I say, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Really appreciate it. If you appreciate all this work. So this looks like another exit, but it kind of goes out and up. But look how narrow that is. I mean, that's, you know, this light is probably 6 inches wide. You know, it's maybe a foot wide at the top at most. I can see why they blocked this area off, because if you didn't know this was down here and you're walking across the top, you could fall into these trenches and would not be a good day. I don't know how long this goes for. I'd say we've probably gone, I don't know, a couple 100 feet so far. I don't even know what this crap is. Okay, it's definitely getting narrow. Starting to feel a little more claustrophobic than it was. Okay, another way out there, as you can see. Check all that moss growing. It's definitely cold down here. Probably only about 50 degrees or so. Not that bad. Again, a bunch of ferns just growing like crazy. Loving the water. This kind of looks like a, I don't know, like sandstone or something. not sure what kind of rock that is. Leave a comment below if you guys know what kind of rock this is. Looks like 1850s rock. Get it? But yeah, check out the pine trees and stuff growing here. Super crazy. Cool place. So fuzzy. All right, just want to make sure I don't step on any needles or glass or anything that's going to cut my foot, or nails. Okay, so this is definitely different here. This part of the trench is not these types of rock. It's all one type of like sandstone or something. I'm not even sure. Definitely getting dark outside, but luckily I got the light going. Oh man, it's getting narrow, but I can see, I don't know if you guys can see that over there, but there's cars driving by over there. I'm assuming that's the freeway. Ooh, this is narrow. About shoulder width for me. Looks like it's gonna get just wide enough. I'm actually kind of keeping my arms together to narrow my shoulders so that they don't rub on the sandstone. Trying to keep from getting too muddy or dirty or anything, but really narrow. Oh, I hear something. It's kind of sketchy to do by yourself, to be honest. Oh shit. Okay, so this definitely looks like an encampment of some sort, but I went too far to turn around, so I'm gonna come out. Oh dang. Okay, so somebody's kind of living here or whatever and burning stuff here. You know, if I was homeless, I always said I would definitely come. I actually want to go this way. I would definitely come live in the middle of nowhere like this. I wouldn't be out where everyone could see me. Okay, so here we are at the end of the trenches, right by the freeway. Ironically, so we're right by the 50 freeway. A bunch of trash. Looks like some stuff was burned. I could probably go back around that way out to my bike, but I'm gonna go this way for a little bit, just to kind of stand up a little and explore. Okay, so there's the 50 freeway. Got a little sunset action going on over there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my light off just to save the battery. So you guys can see the sunset's kind of going on over there. Looks like somebody has a tent set up right there. So I'm not gonna go over there and get, I wanted to get a shot of the sunset, but I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna interrupt anybody. Still got like 35% left on my GoPro battery, which is great. So check out all these rocks. So interesting. I wonder if these rocks are part of the tailings, you know, of like mining, because this doesn't seem natural. This many rocks like this just kind of scattered out. It just doesn't look natural at all. You know, I know what all this is. These are all the rocks that they dug up when they were digging the trenches. So as they dug, they just probably brought them up top here and dumped them, you know. So as they were digging, they pulled out all these rocks. Could you imagine digging those trenches and taking all these rocks out by like hand or bucket or, I don't know, wooden box or whatever the hell they would have back then? Incredible. I wonder how much gold they were able to find doing all this work. I wonder if it was actually worth it for them, or, you know, if it wasn't worth it. Couldn't find much actual history on it online. I didn't spend a lot of time, but kind of curious to know more information about this site. You know, how much gold was pulled from here? Was it anyone else besides the Chinese miners that came to this specific area? Super cool. I'm trying to figure out how to get back out of here without getting hurt. Ideally, I guess I'm gonna have to go up by this tent, just exit out. I'm sure the guy won't mind. Not like he owns the place or anything. Huh. Very interesting. He's got the tent right up against the gate. So what I'm going to do is kind of follow this gate line here, this fence line out. wonder if I should go that way. I'm gonna try and run up this hill. All right, did it. I'm gonna leave that guy be, but I think people have said if you follow this line here, you can get your way back out to the gate that we used to get in. So here's Folsom Boulevard right here, if anybody's wondering. This is Folsom Boulevard. And then that's the 50 freeway, kind of bisects the road there. And then all of this is where all the trenches are. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of trash, you know, kind of ruins it. But you can see why they put this fence up here. There's nothing on this side here, but once you cross over the fence, you come into this really dangerous situation where you could fall down one of these trenches, and man, there's some spots there where it's probably 20 or 30 feet deep, and other spots where it's only about 10 feet deep, but really cool. I mean, totally worth the ride down here. I'm stoked I did this because, like I said, it's going to be raining soon and I won't have a chance to really come out here, but I wanted to take a look at it, and it's been really wet, which is unfortunate because it makes everything muddy, but I was able to get through it even with a light in my hands and a backpack on and a camera and everything else, no problem. So you can definitely fit through. Like I said, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, whether you're into electric bikes or you just saw this video by chance because the algorithm. If you appreciate this, let me know, leave a comment. I really appreciate it. It really helps my channel and motivates me to kind of check out new places and see new things. I really like exploring. And if you live in the area, if you live in the Folsom, Sacramento area, and you want to do something like this with me, or you have an e-bike, you know, let me know. We can meet up. I think it'd be super cool. Look at that, the moon's up there, right through the oak trees. Look at this, some mushrooms. And I have heard there is poison oak here, so you do have to be careful. Some guy thinks he's cool. Definitely not. And here's where we started, basically. So I'm not sure if you can see that down there, but this is where we all started. This is probably a 20 to 25 foot drop straight down right here. Pretty gnarly. But that was fun. Thanks for coming along, guys. We're back at the exit here. My bike's over there, buddy, luckily. This is a hotel right here, so it's right. This is where I found is the best spot. The theater is right over there, and you can access it from the parking lot on that side, or you can come to where this hotel is and access it through this open part in the gate. Either one will probably work, but we're back at my bike, and I'm gonna ride this bad boy home. I'm probably gonna throw my gloves on so that my hands aren't freezing. So again, don't forget, guys, it's getting a little wet out here. You can see on the screen, a little foggy. Hold that up button down for like 3 seconds, and that'll turn your lights on. So you got your rear light, and you got your headlight. And when you hit your brakes, it gets a little brighter. That center part lights up, pretty cool. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Also, one last thing, if you guys have any suggestions for me to go anywhere, or if you want to see me test anything on this bike, let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate it. If you have any good ideas for the Sacramento, Folsom area, I'd love to check it out. Leave it in the comments down below. Thanks. All right, guys, we're at kind of a dark section of the road here on this trail, and I want to show you guys what it looks like real quick with the headlight. So it's pretty decent. I mean, it's not the best, but it definitely lights the road up good enough. And then you got the rear light in the back with the brakes integrated, so definitely does a decent job. Yeah, so you know, you can get home this way, I think, without any issue. There's also a white light that comes down out of the bottom of the rear light right here, and it lights up kind of your tire. So it's cool. It not only shows your light, but it kind of lights your tire up in your bike in a way that you can see it kind of shining on the ground here. Kind of like displays your whole bike rather than just being a solid red tail light, you know, floating in space. It kind of gives people an idea of what you are, obviously a bike, you know, and that you know, the size of your bike and whatever. So pretty cool. A little island right there. But anyways, I just want to give you guys a really quick view of what this headlight looks like. I don't know how it's coming out on camera, but you know, it lights up pretty decent for what it is. It's not the best light I've ever seen on a bike, and it's not the worst one either by far. So anyways, just wanted to give you guys that heads up. I'm on my way back. I have 3 bars. I'm showing 58 volts when I pedal. When I stop pedaling, it goes to about 58 and a half, almost 59. So I don't anticipate having any issues getting back home. It's only about, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles away. So I'm at 50 miles now on the bike, which is great. And I think when I get to 100 miles, I'll do a review of everything and let you know how it's holding up. It's showing 51 degrees outside and 113 degrees on the motor temperature sensor. So I'm just gonna kind of cruise back to my house. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.